G'day everyone, and welcome to Chris Rankin's Music Crush. It's been a little while since I've done a video. I just took a little bit of not a break, but just I felt like I was not even burnt out. When I started out this channel, I was all guns blazing and couldn't get enough of it. Was doing as many videos as I possibly could, and I just felt like I needed just to refresh a little bit. I have been keeping in touch with the channels that I watch and watching all them and commenting, and I thought, yeah, I'm ready to go again. So got some good updates for you. Been out and about, went to a vinyl record fair just recently, went to a gig, Stormrider Festival here in Perth, an annual local metal festival here in Perth, and some things to show you all about. An absolute all-out death metal rare classic that I scored, and a fantastic new release by a absolutely brilliant Perth death metal band. In fact, there's a couple of Perth things in this one today. First of all, let me get up to date with you with some of the new releases that came out last Friday. Sorry I haven't been able to give you those. Normally when I do a weekly video, I will give you the update of new releases, but so we had Between the Buried and Me, as you know, one of my favourite bands. I did a ranking video on them. They just released Colours 2, which is sort of the unofficial sequel to Colours, that album that I've raved about a billion times on here as one of my all-time favourite albums. And Colours 2 pretty quickly has gone to either equal favourite of 2021 or maybe even favourite on its own. It's an absolute flawless masterpiece. It is just brilliant. Between the Buried and Me, progressive death metal band, technical death metal band, bit of avant-garde. And this album, I feel like they were as they were going, when I did that rankings video, I talked about it, they were shifting a bit away from progressive death metal into sort of more straight up progressive metal. And still loved it, but this album, I feel like they've gone back to doing what they do absolutely brilliantly, and it's just, there's so much heaviness, there's brutality, but there's light parts, there's weird parts, it's progressive, but it's catchy at the same time. Just so good, so good. I wanted to have a physical copy ever since their second album. I've always had their album, the physical, on the day of its release, but for some reason they've got a few problems with the actual physical release of this album. So even though it's already out, certainly down here in Australia at least, we're not getting any physical copies until early October, so I can't show that, but I will get it the day it's physically available. So good. Wolves in the Throne Room, fantastic brand new album by the black metal band from up there in the Pacific Northwest. Really good. Just fantastic atmospheric black metal. If you don't know Wolves in the Throne Room, I really recommend you check them out. They're just so good. And the new Witchcryer album, brilliant stoner metal, doom metal, really good. Actually, that could finish quite high on my end of my year list too as well. New album by WarKings, power metal band. And I know Melissa Bonney, who was the vocalist for quite a while with Rage of Light. She left Rage of Light, and she's been singing live with WarKings. But their new album, I want to say it's called Revolution. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's called Revolution. Very good album. The new Necronautical album, really good. Fantastic album. And and the rest I'll just put in the description in the video below. So we'll get on to showing some albums. This has been a grail of mine for quite a while. Both of their first two albums have been long time grails. Until recently, their albums are generally in the three figures, especially those first two albums. And a record store owner friend of mine got a copy in of this. It's a reissue, and messaged me and said, do you want it? And I said, yeah, no doubt about it. And what I didn't realise until I got there, and he didn't realise as well, that it's actually a limited edition. We've got 350 hand-numbered limited edition, and I just couldn't be happier. So the band I'm talking about is a band by the name of Atrocity, German death metal band. One of those bands that are the real landmark of death metal, but that's progressive and technical. So one of the very early true technical death metal bands or progressive death metal bands, and still very heavy, certainly on the more brutal side of death metal. And I'm talking about their second album. So the band is called Atrocity, and the name of this album, Todesnacht. My German was terrible then, I know. I'm very sorry to everyone watching. That was terrible. The American title for this was Longing for Death, which I'm pretty sure is just the translation of that title of Todesnacht. This is, if you don't know this band or you don't know this album, it's just unbelievable. It's a landmark album for death metal, an absolute landmark album. And it's their second album. The first album is probably even more of a landmark album called Hallucinations. Just fantastic. Just, I can't rave about this enough. And yeah, when I went down to get it, even Liam at the time, Liam, who's the record store owner guy, even he didn't realise that it was hand-numbered, so limited to 350. So this is a brand new reissue. It's a 1992 album, you know, that real perfect era of, 89 to sort of 94 of when death metal was just really exploding. It's funny how people always say metal was dead in the early 90s. For me, that's some of the best years ever, I reckon, no doubt about it. And it's just fantastic. And he did also tell me that they're reissuing the first one, Hallucinations, which is even normally more expensive to get. You're looking in sort of the 300 to 400 mark. So he said when that reissue comes in for Hallucinations, he'll put aside a copy for me. Just so good. Show you the vinyl. Comes on the clear red. And the label there. So good. Absolutely. I knew this album very well. I've been playing it so much since I got it. Godless Years, Defiance, Triumph at Dawn, some of my favourites. Necropolis. My favourite overall on this album is Sky Turn Red. If you've never heard this band at all and you want to hear what they're sort of like, listen online to Sky Turned Red, and that intro is just magnificent. Look, the best way to describe this band, and a little bit different, but the only similarity, there's two bands, a band called Nocturnus, and they did the album, The Key, and the one that you'll all know that is a reasonably good comparison is, of course, Death, especially the album Symbolic. That's the closest. So if you like Death, Symbolic, and even Individual Thought Patterns and Human, then you'll absolutely love Atrocity. Incredible band, and I just cannot believe that I've got this. This has been a grail of mine for quite a while, and I was never prepared to pay those big prices, so I thought, well, I'll just wait. One day it'll be a reissue, and if I have to wait forever, so be it. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Patience. And you're collecting music. Have a little bit of patience, and you never know. Now, a really good band from Perth, a band by the name of Crypt Crawler. They recently released their second album called Future Usurper. Brilliant death metal band. Seen them quite a lot live. So good. And yeah, so I got a copy record. Just fantastic death metal. They're just really good. A little bit of progressiveness to it, a little bit of, you know, it's not all just straight bludgeoning death metal. There is some interesting stuff throughout. How's that for a record? Look at that. On the other side, it's even more spectacular. Yeah, look at that. And there are a couple of very good friends of mine in the vinyl community, and they're friends outside of the vinyl community as well. They know who they are. I've already messaged them and reached out to them, and they will each be getting a copy of this brand new record by Crypt Crawler. So you two gents, you know who you are. You will be receiving this in the mail sometime in the near future. Future Usurper, by Crypt Crawler. As I say, Perth death metal band. So happy to get this. Really, really good. It's sort of the real buzz record around Perth metalheads at the moment. Everyone's sort of, oh, have you got your copy yet? Have you got your copy? Have you got your copy? So it's one of those ones that in 10 years' time, I think if you didn't get a copy, you'll be that guy or that girl that, oh, damn it, I didn't get a copy of that, because it's that good, and it's just, they're a great band, and they put a lot of effort into that record, and it sounds like it, no doubt about it. So a really great thing when you have such top quality music coming out of your hometown. I have nothing to be proud for. I had nothing to do with it, but it's still weird that you feel kind of like, yeah, that's awesome. That we have a lot of great bands in Perth, just so many, and I've tried to show as many as I can on here. We're sort of out in the middle of nowhere. We are officially the most isolated capital city in the world, but we have a really good, thriving metal scene here, and a lot of great bands have come out of here. Of course, Bon Scott came out of here. There you go. So next. Been on a bit of an Anvil kick lately. I don't really know why. Nothing really triggered it. It wasn't like, sometimes like if I've watched a documentary on a band or seen something, it might start off a bit of a trigger. Funny thing is with Anvil, I've never been the biggest fan. I do have quite a few of their albums. They're a band that, you know, I like, they're good, I listen. I've never been like, whoa, I think they're amazing. But I've just been on a bit of a kick of them lately, and I've been listening to this one a lot. So I might in the next few videos show, I didn't want it to be all Anvil today, but in the next few videos I might show a few that I've been listening to. But this is one of their later albums. This was actually their, I'm gonna have a stab at this. Don't fry me, everybody, if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna say 15th album. I know it's 2013. I can read that on there, 2013. Hope in Hell, and I love the artwork. How the anvil's like the aircraft carrier in the pit of fire, and it's really, really, really good. Probably my favourite of all the much later Anvil albums. It's got a real bit of polish to it, quite heavy too. And once again, I don't know what to say about this, but I don't know if I've seen it anywhere officially or if anyone else has. But a bonus track on here is called Hardwired, and we all know Metallica's love affair with Anvil. And so there's a track on the bonus track here called Hardwired, and the funny thing is that the chorus actually goes hardwired, set to explode. So I don't know, but yeah. Favourite songs on here are the title track, Hope in Hell, Call of Duty, Time Shows No Mercy, Mankind Machine. Interesting thing about this album, except for the title track, that's where it starts off, I actually like the second half of this album a lot more. It's weird when you sort of, I still remember when I first got this, I didn't really like it much because I sort of listened to that first half of the CD and it sort of put me off for the rest. But I think I'm a little bit more patient to it these days, and I realise it's because the second half is so strong that if you just listen all the way through, it's actually a really good album. You know, the lyrics are a little bit sort of cliche, and it's all, you know, the normal sort of cliche writing that you'll get in some heavy metal bands, but it's a good fun album. It's good to listen to. It's certainly heavy. Yeah, I don't know why I've been on that. It's such a big Anvil kick lately. I was on a big Fleetwood Mac kick before. That seems to have disappeared a bit, but it's still hanging around a little bit. It's just weird how these things happen. Like I listen to the new releases at the end of each week, and then there'll be things that subconsciously I pick and I listen to, which is what I'm sort of showing now. But then at certain times there'll be like an overarching sort of kick of one particular band that I'll be on that I sort of they're my flavour of the month, and it can be just so random. It could be an old band, a new band, it could be pop, it could be any genre. But yeah, so I went to the Stormrider Festival, our annual, one of our big annual sort of metal festivals. It was a few weeks ago now. Great lineup, organised by Stu McGill, a very good friend of mine, who is in and the founder of the band Silent Night. They are on the bill, along with Cold Fate, Legacy Alive, Icarus Lives, Harvest Trail, a band that I'd never caught before. They've been around for about a year or so, I think, but a band by the name of Midnight Furnace. Really good, fantastic groove metal band. The vocalist I love. Did the growls, but when he did the clean singing, he sounded very similar to Miles Kennedy. Fantastic voice. I think that's everyone. Oh, and Woe Warden. Really good, atmospheric, depressive black metal band. So good. My good friend John, just putting on a show on vocals. He was so good. And to finish the night was the quite big progressive death metal band, progressive death metal is silly. Progressive metal, I meant to say. Progressive metal band of Chaos Divine. Perth is quite known for its big three of progressive metal bands. You've got Voyager, Carnival, and Chaos Divine. Chaos Divine closed out the night, and they put on such a great show. I mean, they're fantastic musicians. Their music is just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So I picked up this show. I almost always buy merch at a gig. Just always. It's just, one, you save on postage. Two, the money's going straight to the band. And I don't know, it just feels good. It feels good. I just enjoy it. I always make sure that I go over to the merch desk if there is one and pick up something. It's just a much easier, simpler, straightforward way of adding to your collection and supporting a band. Now, this is their second album called The Human Connection. Absolutely fantastic. Just head to tail, just Astral Plane I absolutely adore on this. So many good songs. Chasing Shadows is brilliant. Now, it's not on here, but if you want to check out any song by them, and they actually finished the night with it, and a very good friend of mine, Chris Reed, was extremely happy when they did. He kept calling it out, play that. And they did, and it's a song called Refuse the Sickness, and it comes off the first album called Avalon. So if you ever want to know what this band sounds like, I think a lot of the metal guys would really love this band. They're progressive, but some of you won't be put off that they're too overly progressive. They do have longer songs, but they're certainly not like Dream Theater long songs, that sort of thing. So I think a lot of you would love Chaos Divine. They're reasonably big. You'll find their albums for sale in the chain music stores and things like that. They are reasonably big. Maybe not quite as big as Voyager and Carnival. I mean, Voyager, they get on the charts. Carnival are absolutely on the charts. Their records chart extremely well, and in Perth, you'll see it actually charting as the #1 album for sure. But Chaos Divine are pretty big also. But yeah, check out the song Refuse the Sickness off their debut album, Avalon. Now, this album was 2011. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant album. Now, as you know, I'm not a very big fan of covers, hardly at all. I really generally just don't like covers. I could probably list about 10 in the history of music that I actually like. But this shows how good this band is, because they do a cover of this, Toto's Africa, and they actually played it on the Stormrider Festival, and the whole crowd was in unison singing every line. They did it well. What I like about their cover is the vocalist, whose name escapes me now, of course, because I'm on camera. He's got a very good tuneful voice. It's a good true singing voice. But he does the growls as well when he needs to. But what I like about this cover is the vocals and all are absolutely spot on, and the melody is spot on. But because they're a metal band, there's just a lot more crunch in the music, and it's It's like this song with a bit of teeth, and it's just perfect. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's actually on YouTube, them doing it. I took a video of it at the concert, but I won't put it on here just in case I upset people. But yeah, so I got this at the merch desk as well. This the guy running the merch desk is a good friend of mine, so he said they're giving these out, so you can have one of these. So yeah, Toto, Africa, covered by Chaos Divine. So good. Do you know, it just shows how amazing that song is, because for the next like 3 or 4 days, I had that song stuck in my head. Hurry boys, she's waiting there for you, and just that hook and everything. I just could not get it out of my head. As you know, I'm a big Sabotage fan. I'm getting ready for the new album. We've been told by Chris Caffrey that the new album is on its way. If you watch Sea of Tranquility, you'll see him on there a few times, and he's been talking about how the new Sabotage album will be on its way, which is like the first album in 19 years, 20 years, which can't wait. So yeah, bit of a Sabotage kick again as well. And I've gone right back to the start, the debut. Some of you might not recognise this cover. This was the UK cover, I think, from memory. Or is it? Yeah, this is the UK cover. This is actually a 1994 reissue that I got back then. Of course, the album's called Sirens. Absolutely brilliant album. Maybe their heaviest album overall, because it's the debut. It's a bit more of that sort of, it's not quite as polished as later albums. So because of that, it sounds quite heavy and quite crunchy. Just a fantastic album. I absolutely love it. The title track, Sirens, is brilliant. Holocaust is probably my favourite song on the album. Rage, On the Run, Living for the Night. Just something about Sabotage with their riffs, the hooks. Just fantastic. I love this band. I still, to this day, I really, really don't understand why this band back then wasn't huge, isn't big in now. I mean, I know there's a lot of metal fans that absolutely adore Sabotage, but I think they should be a band that's on the minds of everyone, all metalheads, not just people that are really sort of into their metal. I had all the things. I mean, Hall of the Mountain King for me is it's a perfect metal album. I think it's one of the greatest metal albums of all time. Love it. Now, I went to a record fair just this last weekend gone. When was that? Sunday, that's right. And was it Sunday? Yes, it was Sunday. It was great. Turned up, the doors open at 12. There was already a big queue out the front, and of course you have the usual thing where I went in and then I looked around and like every single crate had someone standing in the front of. So I'm a bit of quite a polite sort of a person, so I just sort of hung back and waited. Flicked through quite a lot of records. There was quite a few things that I picked up. I had a good look at the Spiritus Mortis album Fallen, and went, yeah, maybe it's not my favourite of theirs, so I didn't get it. There was one particular seller who had a lot of thrash. He had a lot of like Creator and Sodom and things like that. There was quite a good bit of stuff that I picked up. One seller I nearly got this. It was Aerosmith Draw the Line, but it was for $50, and they said it was near mint. Now, the record might have been, but the cover for me, I don't know, it looked like it had stains and things like that on it. Now, I'm not totally picky like that, but if you're going to charge that much and it not be really near mint, then I don't know. Look, if I'd seen nothing else that I wanted, I may have pulled the trigger and got it, because I've been looking for that record for a long time. They also had a very nice reissue, a double LP of Raven All for One, which nearly got, but these are the two things I got. Now, as you may know, this is one of those weird situations. I got this and Queen, The Works. This is actually my favourite Queen record. Love this. Absolutely love it. But it's weird. I had it back then when it came out on cassette. But since then, it's weird. It's my favourite Queen album, but I've never had it. Like, when I would see it, I'd go, yeah, I'll get it another day. Yeah, I'll get it another day. I know it's there. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I went, I really want it. And of course, then, once you say you really, really want it, then you never see it again. So I was very happy to pick this up. It's a very nice copy, very clean. Love this album, absolutely love it. I love most Queen. You know, they have their duds and all. There's the label on EMI. I love this because 2 songs on here would be easily in my top 3 Queen songs of all time. So, and they are Tear It Up. Tear It Up may be my favourite Queen song of all time. It's just heavy. It's got that really good heavy hook riff. It's catchy. You know, one of their heaviest songs they ever did. And Hammer to Fall. Just love Hammer to Fall. So those 2 songs would easily be in my top 3 Queen songs of all time. And Tear It Up, probably my favourite song. And then, of course, you've got Radio Gaga. Look, I know we hear it a lot on radio, which is kind of ironic about with the song's title and what it's all about. But it's still a great song. It's a really good, catchy, great song. And of course, whenever I hear that song, and I think everyone would, you remember those visions of Freddie up the front at Live Aid, you know, with 90,000 people in the palm of his hand, getting them to sing back the chorus of Radio Gaga to him. But everything on here, even that, I mean, of course, it's got I Want to Break Free, which is another big single. But just so much, so many good Machines, another great song. There's just so many good songs on here. It's just a Queen album that you just play all the way through. And I know Ron Haggerty has said this a couple of times. And if you haven't checked out his new channel, Ron Haggerty's Vinyl Pastor, please go and check it out. It's such a really good channel. He's just pretty much continuing on what he did before. But Ron said a few times, sometimes with Queen albums, and I agree with him a little bit, that you'll get half of the album that is great, and then you get another half of the album that's like, oh, I could skip that sort of thing. And yeah, I can agree with him that a little. But with this album here, there's actually nothing I want to skip past or go past. It's just absolutely brilliant all the way through. So I was very happy to pick that up. I actually finally did it. I went, you know what? I've been looking for it a lot in the last 5 or 6 years, and instead of going, oh, I'll get it another time, I'm actually going to get it this time, and then it's done, then I've got it. So very, very pleased. And then I got this. This was still in the shrink, so it's a reissue. As you know, I'm a big Scorpions fan, so I was very happy to see this. This was still sealed in the shrink. There was actually quite a lot of new records at the record fair. A lot of sellers had, I would say overall, with all the sellers, I would say it was probably about 40% new. And then when I say new, I mean, you know, still in the shrink. And then, yeah, so 40-60, 40 new, 60 used. And I was very happy to get this. I was umming and ahhing over getting this or the Raven, all for one. But this was just a little bit cheaper, so that was the deal in the end. It's funny how much of an influence Aaron the Metal Theologian has had on us all. Even for all us guys in Perth, I've put them all on to watching his channel. He's become a bit of a, you know, oh, have you seen the new Aaron the Metal Theologian video? And we all talk about it. And it's funny, we actually had a moment where he has become part of our culture a little bit, because we were looking at the back of the Raven All For One record, and we all instantly said, without any sort of prompting, well, there's a little bit of a negative for this Raven album, because we noticed that on the back of that Raven album there was no mustaches, no good killer mustaches. So yeah, Aaron the Metal Theologian, even all the way down here in Perth, so far away from South Carolina, you've got a bit of a cult status. If you haven't checked out Aaron the Metal Theologian's channel, you must do it. It is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And while I remember it as well, big shout out to Eric Weinbender, who got into quite a serious car accident about a month ago, I think it was now. So we're all hanging in there for you, and yeah, hope you really get well. I don't know you at all, but I know your channel, and you're a good dude, and I really hope you get through it. Very much so. So good karma to you for sure. But yeah, I picked up this Scorpions Lonesome Crow, of course, their psychedelic rock debut with the wonderful Flying V Michael Schenker, and yeah, really happy to get this. I went in there with a real open mind, actually, to the record fair. I just went in and went, you know what, I'm just, whatever I see, and then I'm going to work out which ones I'm going to get. I didn't even look before what label this is on. Oh, the Brain, that's right. Oh, silly me, it's got them on the front cover, right? Yeah, I didn't want to, I'm going to go and hunt for this, and I just went around all the racks. I was quite systematic. As I went round, I went, yeah, I think I like this, and I think I like that. If it was something had been rare that I'd really wanted, I would have got it straight away. But I must admit, I pulled the trigger on Queen the Works straight away. As soon as I saw that, I went, yep, I want this, mate, how much? And I paid him. But everything else, I sort of went round, assessed everything that I liked the look of. Unless it was really rare, then as I say, I would have got it straight away. But I assessed everything, and then I went back and went, right, I'm going to get the Scorpions Lonesome Cry. I didn't want to overdo the budget, and very happy to get that. Sounds great. Brilliant record. So there we go. Apologies for being away for a while, but I just felt like I needed to freshen up a bit and get a bit of the fire back. I went out really hard on the first lap, and then sort of just felt like I needed a breather in between. So I'll be back good and strong. Also, work's been really busy. You know, being a tour guide at the moment, whatever work comes your way, you've just got to take it. So when it's been really busy and full on, I've just worked as much as I can. So, but thanks very much for watching. Wearing my Mannerist shirt today. We're making a bit of a run. This could be the drought. We could break the drought for being in the playoffs. I'm quietly hopeful, quietly confident, but you never know. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I really appreciate any of you watching and subscribing to me and your comments. And I do try to watch as many of your channels as I possibly can. I really do. And whenever I do, I comment on and give you a like as well. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you all soon.